You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, guys? Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Deanie. But I do have to let you guys know that this particular episode is pre-recorded, and I can't wait to deliver it to your inboxes. And for you guys who subscribe to the show, you'll actually be the first to know when the new episode drops, and I appreciate that greatly. All right, before we introduce our guest, I do want to say, when you expect good things to happen, you'll find the good in whatever happens. Expect to have a productive day, and you'll do whatever it takes to make the day productive. Most circumstances are neither good nor bad, and they mostly are what you make of them. When you're determined to achieve, the circumstances will work in your favor because you'll find a way to make them work in your favor. So are you waiting for a reason to be positive? Here's a reason. Just be positive and expect great things for yourself, because it will bring richness and fulfillment to your life. When the circumstances seem to be working against you, that's even more reason to be positive, because it will enable you to turn those circumstances in your favor. So you'll get what you truly expect. So why would you ever want to expect anything less than the very best? Take that from me, Coach Deanie. That is my word, and word is bond.
Have you struggled budgeting your finances? Don't worry, you're not alone. HumbledBudget.com, that's HumbledBudget.com, is the help and resource you've been searching for. HumbledBudget.com is a personal finance and educational website with a great variety of topics when it comes to budgeting, taxes, investing, and the popular topic of FIRE, financial independence, retire early. HumbledBudget.com has a goal, and that's to help you reach your financial dreams, no matter what your goals are when it comes to finances. It doesn't matter where you start, where you come from, or where you are right now. HumbledBudget.com can help. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to the financial life you've dreamed of and go to HumbledBudget.com. That's HumbledBudget. HumbledBudget.com.
All right, again, you're listening to VRL, that's Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio, and I'm your host, Deanie. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the movies, the news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings, you know, the ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Steven Gerald Warkel, an emerging talent in the American entertainment industry, and in 2022, Steve's impressive line of projects, including his first feature-length film. It's called Hair Trigger, and 2 critically acclaimed short films, Ramen and Urban Luau, outscored commercial films with their content-driven, low-budget approach So Steven's passion for filmmaking has driven him to create thought-provoking content with fresh talent and audience-based approaches. Oh man, guys, this makes him a name to watch in the film industry. So with that, Steven, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. We're excited to learn more about your journey as an independent filmmaker and the inspiration behind your recent projects, particularly Hair Trigger. So I guess, that's where we should start, man. Kind of tell us about what drew you to filmmaking.
Oh, man. I think I always just, I loved writing and telling stories. And when I was in high school, I guess I thought it would be cool to try my hand at writing books, and then I just found that to be maybe it wasn't too hard, but I convinced myself that it wasn't for me. And then I looked at screenplays, and I was like, oh, these are just blueprints or explanations of what is happening on screen, and that just felt like it came easier to me. And then after that, I just got way more into movies, especially around 2014, 2016, and yeah, just loved the storytelling aspect of it and sharing, whether it's elements of entertainment or something deeper, but I just love the medium.
Yeah, for sure, man. I wonder why, writing books didn't work out for you, because you have a unique approach to storytelling. Was it because of the long format, or what would you say that is?
Yeah, I think it was, at least, when I was younger, the long format, and I feel like I'm kind of such a black and white person that when you're writing a novel, the idea of really filling in the world and just became more daunting. Just the idea, I'm just very much the idea of explaining what is happening verbatim just seemed way more attainable at the time. I think it'd be something fun to return to, writing in long form with the book, now that I've had practice and am a bit older. But yeah, I think it was just the more spelled out black and white nature of screenplays is what kind of drew me in initially.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a particular work of art that kind of draws you into, that's the beginning, the catalyst point for you, especially for your interests?
Oh man, I guess what really drew me in was, I love the Coen brothers and Midwest crime and just sensibilities, and so a lot of that is kind of what pulled me in. I know growing up in high school, my favorite book was Catch-22, which is kind of like MASH, I guess, the show, or just a satire on World War II. And I kind of always enjoyed finding humor and seriousness and balancing that. And I feel like Coen brothers and those kind of sensibilities do that well. And that's an area I'd like to grow at as an artist.
Yeah, for sure. Man, in high school, we had a choice between Catch-22 and Cat's Cradle. By Kurt Vonnegut. So I chose Cat's Cradle, and I ended up reading Catch-22 years later. But, yeah.
I'll have to check out that one.
Yeah, it's pretty satire as well. A very unique way. So we know that, I was reading a report about financial crisis in the cinema industry, especially with independence. I know there were some challenges for you. What strategies did you kind of employ to ensure the film's success?
Yeah, being from the Midwest and going to a smaller school, I guess, comparatively, in Moorhead, when we set out to make our film Hair Trigger, it was really just about what kind of film did we at least have confidence or know that we could pull off. And so that was finding a story that was something we wanted to do and something that we thought would be fun and entertaining, but something that we also understood to be practical. So I know for me, a lot of it was looking at previous movies that were indie or low budget or no budget, and most of them being minimal location or one location. That was a big thing for us, was using our budget for really locking us down in the spot and just committing to a location that helped us out a lot.
Yeah, man, speaking of Hair Trigger, I'm real big on characters. You may laugh, but the particular, it's not a movie, it's a show, cartoon based actually. BoJack Horseman. But
Yeah.
I've been watching this show over and over and over because of the characters and the way that they're written. When it came to Hair Trigger, man, like, what qualities do you look for in actors and crew members? Is there a process?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing, especially when going to college, because a lot of the people who were on-screen talent and those who worked crew with me were people I had met at school and were friends with. And a lot of the time it was just finding people that I just enjoyed hanging out with. I mean, you want talented people around you, and everyone involved with it was incredibly talented. But I also think you just need to have sort of like a relaxed nature, not taking yourself too seriously and being self-aware. People that just want to like have fun is the biggest part. I've been on, sets as a PA or, other roles and stuff, and it can get a bit hectic or it's chaotic and I just want there to be sort of like a free-flowing and like relaxing nature. Typically, I think that breeds a better product. And at least with actors too, I thought sort of similar to personalities of crew. It's just those that are natural. Like I feel like in movies and in TV, you really just want people who are themselves and don't come off like they're acting. And those are the best actors, are the people who, where it doesn't feel like they're necessarily putting on a character. They're just kind of putting their own shoes into that role.
Yeah, that's crazy how they can do that, man. Man, it's spectacular. So, what overall messages and themes do you hope to convey through this film?
I feel like, it's definitely, in my mind, more of like a popcorn movie, definitely like a horror, just more fun entertainment. I love the kind of chaotic Midwest comedy crime aspect to it, which, and I guess like if there was a theme at it, and what I feel is the theme at the very core is just how the main problems and obstacles in the movie could be pretty well easily avoided if it wasn't for the main criminal group in the movie sort of eating themselves out from the inside, like a snake eating its tail. It's really just a lot of self-problem creation. And I think you even kind of said it in the opening of your show, how it's all about like what you do with an opportunity or your day. And in a sense, maybe that wasn't the exact theme of it, but just being that, you gotta look bigger picture and you gotta not create your own problems, because it's just gonna snowball and be worse off for everyone, including yourself.
Absolutely, man. So everyone always asks the question, like, what film or movie inspired your work? I'm not gonna ask you that, man. What movie did you want to not make, or like, I don't want to make another movie like this one, or I don't want to fall in the same box or category as that movie. I don't want to make that movie, right?
Yeah.
Is there one for Hair Trigger?
Oh man, at least for Hair Trigger, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to do this type of movie because like I don't respect it. But at least with Hair Trigger, I wanted to do something that was a little more fun and campy and self-aware. I didn't really want it to take itself too seriously or become something that takes itself too seriously. Again, that's more just like a personal preference. And again, the balancing of like comedy and seriousness, and I enjoy that more than say just straight up horror, or like gore. Straight up isn't necessarily like my personal preference. So I think that was kind of the goal there, was to be more in a field of even like Hitchcocky horror, like which was partly budget reasons too. Is we couldn't really afford to show any crazy mutilation or aspects like that, because we just again couldn't afford it. So it was a lot more about, I think, just setting like a fun tone versus necessarily something super ominous.
Absolutely, man. So you've made 2 critically acclaimed short films prior to Hair Trigger. The creative approach, was that any different for this particular film?
Yeah, for sure. At least with those, with Urban and Ramen, those are definitely more like personal and like dramatic. So it was kind of interesting where those are more speaking on like life experiences or just like sharing feelings that I feel like everyone has. And that are good to speak about and share. Hair Trigger was definitely more of, again, like what would be more fun for an audience and what would be more entertaining, what would be sort of like an interesting experiment. The whole movie really kind of came about from being like, what if the movie Reservoir Dogs met Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and kind of visualizing that, like how would that go, being that those are two indie movies and kind of in the similar grindhouse or crime genres. And so it was more of like an experimental project versus like a personal project.
Yeah, man, that's a complete spin from personal to, some action.
Yeah.
Why the change?
I think it was mainly, it was a lot of the pitching process. We didn't have a lot of money, but the money we were able to raise, I think, mainly came from pitching a horror movie and this crime, and just it's a genre that I think when you have less money and a lower budget, it's something that people are more interested in, and so it's an easier sell to when you're looking for investment versus I would love to do, say, like a drama or something based off of those dramatic short films, but at least at the beginning, and especially being pretty young, I was more trepidatious about just jumping into something that I felt was more important to say versus something that was more about entertainment, which is kind of where that all came from.
Yeah, man. As a filmmaker, how close to the projects do you get?
Yeah, pretty close. It definitely takes over your life to a degree, especially when you're, say writing and directing, because you're not necessarily doing everything, and you need a team behind you because you can't do it alone, and you need people to support you and people that you trust. But at the end of the day, whatever the final product is should be your vision, and you need to be responsible for whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you want to share it or not. Like, that's what you're putting out into the world. So I think it's important that if you are, say, directing, that you are giving it your all and you're putting your life into it, because at the end of the day, it's what you are trying to say or entertain with.
Oh yeah. Like I said, man, I love your storytelling ability, and when it comes to like your audience-based approach, how does it differ from the traditional Hollywood model?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, with these films, again, making it with no money, and we're not going to have, like, I'm no one that anyone's heard of, and my friends and whatnot were no one big, and so it's about making something that the idea of it and the story of it is hopefully interesting and fun enough on its own to bring people in. So instead of saying, we have, Matt Damon in our movie, you have to get people by the tag or the product. And I think that's the biggest thing with no budget filmmaking, is if the film itself isn't interesting, no one's going to watch it. So you have to take that a lot more seriously than just hoping to carry a film with name and presence.
Yeah, that says a lot for your work though, man. It's true quality there, and not the fluffer and the buffer of CGI and big names.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part about making Hair Trigger?
We spent about 16 days shooting it, 16 days straight. And I mean, it was very grueling physically, but I think that was the most fun because we shot it in July of 2019, and it just kind of felt like a summer camp. Again, like really 95% of the crew and a good portion of the cast were students of Minnesota State University Moorhead, and it was just it was a cool experience to all come together and put what we learned together and our talents and preferences to make like a bigger project. And just waking up every day on set, going and hanging out with friends and doing your passion and then repeating that process, I think was just the most fun aspect of it.
Absolutely, man. So I know you have an upcoming short film. It's called Walk Away. Without giving too much away about it, man, what themes will this explore?
That one is a little more committing to the vein of like Midwest crime versus Hair Trigger, which is more on the horror side, like the Texas Chainsaw side. That one is just kind of based on the idea of FOMO, and I feel like I've seen in a lot of Coen Brother movies and a lot of crime movies where, someone finds money or something of value and they kind of debate whether to take it, and usually they do, and then they face the repercussions of their actions. And in this one, it's a little more playing on that whole idea of like, well, what if you didn't pull the gun on taking that case of money or that jewelry or whatever, and then would you regret that, and like what would you do to go back and redo that decision? And so it's just sort of a goofy play on that.
All right. So, man, this one's off the books. We actually had this question sent in. The question is from Susan. She wants to know, is there a particular question or subject matter that you kind of want to have an open discussion about, but don't feel like no one will maybe relate to the question or relate to the topic?
I don't know about necessarily if there's any question that I have that I don't think anyone will relate to. Almost more the opposite, which maybe isn't the answer Susan's looking for. But again, with doing something more dramatic and close to home, I kind of want to do something that examines, what it's like when you lose someone important to you in your life, whether it's a parent or a friend or whatnot. And some of those shorts, such as like Urban and Small Talk is another one. Just kind of how it's tough whenever you have to go through losing someone in your life. And I feel like when you are doing that, it's more or less common to put on a face or front that everything's okay, and that it's hard to admit that like you're not in great shape and that it's tough. And even though everyone knows that, it's still just not easy to say. And I think that would be that's a theme and a topic that I'd love to explore at some point.
Yes, sir, man. All right, Steven Gerald Warkel, where can people connect with you online?
Really, the only social media I'm on is Instagram, and I'm on there at Steven Gerald _W, and that's usually where I'll post all my film updates and photos and whatnot.
All right, cool. Oh, one final question. Mm-hmm. Will we ever see you in front of the camera?
Sometimes I like to show up to fill a small role for budget reasons. So on occasion, maybe nice. Here and there. So we'll see in the future.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Steven.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/only1media group, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is only1mediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@only1mediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Denny, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, at all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.